Hi, welcome to Talk Back Live, a show that gets you involved in live conversation and sports with Brian Camp on Sports Update, bringing you the latest developments in today's world of sports. And now here's your host, Frank Allan.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and a pleasant night to each and every one of you in your different time zones around the world and across the country. And here we are once again. It's a Thursday here, and it's Thursday on the East Coast. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast, 5 p.m. on the West Coast. It's Friday morning at 1 a.m. in London and 10 a.m. in Tokyo, Japan, also on a Friday. Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan, and I am going to be with you for the whole entire hour. We're so glad to have you aboard with us. And we've got so many things to talk about today. And of course, those of you who are here for the very first time, let me show you how this show operates. Of course, what we do as the host, I get things rolling by doing what I'm doing now and then throw out topics. And in the meantime, in between all of that time, you can chime into just as well. I will see you right there on the big screen. And if you have any questions or you just want to say hello, or just maybe you have something in particular you want to talk about on the show, we will entertain all of that. All of you are here. And of course, it's always a delight to have you here. If you're here for the very first time, welcome aboard. I hope you stay around for the duration of the whole hour, or whatever time you can spend with us would also be appreciative. But we would love for you to stay around and say hello to us. And we want you to know that we come from 3 different places. We're here live on Facebook. We're on YouTube, and we're live on Instagram as well. So wherever you choose or whenever you choose, you could choose it and be with us for the whole entire hour. And again, we invite you to invite your friends and family if they don't know about us. Now, especially you guys who are watching us live right now on Facebook, what I want you to do is take the time and tag all of your friends. You could take the show and tag it to all of your friends, or your chosen friends, or whatever, as many as possible, and they will see the information. And of course, they'll see what they'll do is they'll just click onto that notification that they'll see, and it will bring them directly here to us. And they'll see you, they'll see me, and they'll see others who may be coming in to enjoy the show. And hopefully, that somewhere down the line, if they like what they see, if they like what they hear, they'll come back again and again and be regulars just like the rest of you guys. And for those of you who are watching us on YouTube, we invite you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're right there, subscribe to it. You'll see that little button right there. Says, I don't know if it's black, it's red, sometimes it's black and sometimes it's red, but it says subscribe. And all you have to do is take your mouse and click onto that subscription button, and you're in. And you don't have to pay anything. It's free of charge. You don't need a union card or any form of ID. All you have to do is be here each week. And by the way, when you subscribe, that gives you the opportunity to know when we come on live, or if we post a photo or a video. You see, so when we pop on and you happen to be online, notification will pop right up, and then you can pop right on to that notification right there, and it'll bring you right directly to us. Simple as that, no problem. So we hope that you do that. And for the rest of you who are watching us on Instagram, thank you so much for being along with us. All you have to do is just follow us each week and tell your friends and family about it. That's all you have to do. It's just that simple. Now, later on in the program, because I always ask people if they like to chime in on the show, that'll be great. We would love to hear from you, even if you don't want to say anything. You know, as long as you're there, that's the most important thing. But, you know, it's always good to hear from you, and we could acknowledge you. We would love to acknowledge you. Acknowledge me. That's what you're saying. We would love to acknowledge you, and we will. And of course, acknowledge all of your thoughts and ideas, and of course, acknowledge your questions, or even acknowledge the topic that you want to convey to the rest of us. We'll do all of that. Now, later on in the program, we're going to do our regular thing in conjunction with interacting with you. All right. We do the regular thing we have on our program. We have sports coming up just a few minutes from now, sports update with Brian Camp. However, Brian won't be here tonight. Brian he has the night off, unless, of course, some miracle happens where he decides, oh, you know something, I think I have a little time to do it. Let me do it right quick. Other than that, he won't be here. So what we'll do is we'll fill in for him because he was nice enough to leave all the information that he wants to convey to all of you sports people. And we have that coming up. And later on in the program, we have what we call this day in history. We have a list of things that we're going to convey to you on this day in history. We go back in time and let you know what happened on this particular day in history, events, and things like that. And later on in the program, before the show is over, we have all of those great movies that you love directly from Turner Classic Movies. Now, I know a lot of you like to do things on the weekends, and particularly one of the things you may want to do is catch up on some movies. I have some old classic movies that I have for you. My pick of the week from Turner Classic Movies I want to convey to you. And you may like them. I think you will like them if you like classic movies. And all of that is coming up. In conjunction, all of that is coming up, and it's right here on the show on Talkback Live. Remember that all of the view and the opinions expressed on this show, Talkback Live, does not necessarily reflect the view or the opinion of the people of Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, or any other social media outlet or any kind of broadcast facility. So with all of that out of the way, thank you again for chiming along with us. Let me wave to all of you guys who don't want to say anything in particular. Also, later on in the program, what I'll do, I'll have information too for you to get in touch with me personally. It takes an email address or a telephone number, and all of that is coming right up. That's all you have to talk about. So if you have anything to say, please chime in. We would be glad to have you aboard with us. And here we are. It's the second day of March. Second day of March, and here we are, right? We just got finished Black History Month. We completed Black History Month. We celebrated all of that during February, the month of February. So now we're into new month, and guess what it is now? Yeah, I know. March Madness. I know. March Madness too. But here's something that's even more important that I think that you'll like. Finishing up Black History Month, now we're in the whole month, and the entire month is all to women. It's Women's History Month now, in the month of March. Oh yes, that's what it is. And we're all here, and we're going to celebrate the women's all of their achievements. That's what we're going to do. There's a lot to talk about, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot of movies on TV dedicated to women, about women, for women. That doesn't mean you can't watch it, you know, but there's going to be a lot of things going on. And we talk about the trailblazers of people who have been inspiration to all of us and who have achieved so much all through the years, because women came a long way. I got to tell you, they came a long way, because think about the things that men once did. They used to call it a man's world. It's a man's world. No longer. It's everybody's world now. Everybody chimes in. Everyone makes a contribution to the world and whatever they have to do. But this month is all about women. Now, you know, remember the old days? It was a time when women couldn't vote. Women is right in there. They're right in there. Women are entrepreneurs now. Women are working on jobs that used to be said to be only men's job. Like, for instance, women are in construction work. Women drive buses and subways. As a matter of fact, just this morning, I commuted on the bus. Yeah, I like to ride the bus. I commuted on the bus, and it was a woman driver. And it's the norm. And it's the norm, because I remember when it first started, when women started going through this, you had to take a second look. You had to go. It was like a surprising thing, you know, but it's normal. And they have the jobs that they can do, the jobs that men do, which, like I said, there were jobs at that particular time when there were only jobs for men. Bus drivers, subway riders, what else? Construction people, right? All of that. Women own big business. Some women, like people like Oprah Winfrey, right? Jumped up, came out of poverty. She's her own woman now. She's an entrepreneur, and she's in the billionaire bracket. women like that, and you too can be the same way. All you have to do is go for it. Now, granted, women have a long way to go. There are certain still places where men have to unleash and relinquish to women and say, we got this job and you can do the job. If you can do the job, it's yours. Some places are still male dominated, but things are picking up. Things are picking up, but it's also good to know, even though a certain place may be male dominated, men or women, I should say, can join the big boys clubs and they could do the job just as good as anyone else. So everybody's is happy. So we're happy to celebrate and honor women for Women History Month. And I think it's a good thing. And if you want to talk about that, and maybe some of you women out there, you talk about maybe you have achieved something, or maybe you were a trailblazer in a certain area, and you want to talk about that, you want to brag about that. We want you to brag about it. And if you have anything to say about it, we want you to say something about it, because it would make a good story. So all of you out there. But in the meantime, happy Women's History Month to all of the women out there. And I have to say this first. If it wasn't for the woman, and one particular woman in my life, if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. So Mom, thank you so much. Thank you. And we should all give the women a credit, and this is a way of doing it. And I am really glad that they do have other than a Black History Month, right? They do now have a Women's History Month. So, and that's good. So we try to, whatever we celebrate in months' time or days or whatever, we kind of announce on the show and pay homage to it. But all month long, we're going to be celebrating. And just let me know what you want to talk about in that field, and we'd be glad to talk about it. I am so glad to talk about it. And like I said, too, the month of March is March Madness. Brian is not here to talk about that, but that has to do with sports. So they're celebrating March Madness. Now, I think Brian may be here tomorrow morning on a coffee hour. He may have something to say about that. March Madness, all throughout, we celebrate a lot of things, and it's good. It's good. So there you go, March Madness, and it's all right here. Okay, we move along. And entertainment-wise, we have some sad news to report, and it's kind of like personal to me because it has to do with music. When I was a disc jockey, I used to play this man's records. And when I was a jazz disc jockey, that is, I used to play this man's record. Jazz saxophonist Wayne Shorter, who shaped the color and the contour of modern jazz as the most intensity and admired composer. He died in a Los Angeles hospital just Thursday, today. He passed away. Now, he was 89 years old, but at this particular point, there's no immediate information of the causes, but that's not important. It's not how, it's how important, it's very important how a person lives and not die. But if we get any information on what the cause is, a little information on that, we will let you know. But Wayne Shorter, and I used to play his music a lot. And he lived a long time, 89 years old, close to 90. People are living longer lives now. And it's getting better and better. But we're sorry that we lost him. I'm particularly sorry. Love his music. I still have a lot of his music at my jazz collection at home. And so we're just sorry to hear about that. So what we want to do is, in conjunction of talking about his music, we want to pay homage to him. We want to send our deepest condolences out to his friends, his family, his co-workers, people who played with him over the years. And there were a lot of people who played with Wayne Shorter over the years, in collaboration and music. And so we want to send our condolences out to all of you and all of his fans who enjoyed his music over the years. I most certainly enjoyed his music, and We'll continue to enjoy his music even though he's gone, but I'm glad that he left a legacy for all of us to enjoy his music. Jazz saxophonist Wayne Shorter died at the age of 89 years old in Los Angeles, California. Died in a hospital. So he must have been in the hospital for a while. We don't know that, but we just figure we just bring that out to you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you're just joining us and you're wondering what this March Madness is all about. There we go with March Madness once again. If you want to know what it's all about, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. And my name is Frank Allan. I'm the host of the show as always. And of course, we like to welcome all of you aboard who are here for the first time. Don't make it your last time. And remember that you're just as important as just the people who are here each week. You're just as important. So if you're here for the first time, don't make it your last time. Make it your weekly habit. Now, as I said, Brian Camp is usually here at this time. He's usually here at this time. And he comes in and he brings us the latest developments in today's world of sports. However, he has the night off, and but he was nice enough to send us information, sports news information. So we're going to just briefly go right through it and get it going right now. So let's get started right now. Let's talk about Major League Baseball. I can't wait till that comes around. Oh, I just can't wait till that comes around. Would you believe summer is on its way pretty quick? It's coming really quick. And believe it or not, that a week from this Sunday, we go back to daylight savings time. We push our clocks back up an hour, daylight savings time. Now, I know I'm saying this prematurely, but I just wanted you to know that. But of course, you know, next week I will remind you that again, so you don't forget. Daylight savings time, summer is coming back. I can't wait. But anyway, getting to Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball Executive Director Tony Clark vows to fight by the league implementing the salary cap after the current labor deal expires in 2026. Now, Clark's statement simply says, we don't have caps. We don't have a cap, and we're not going to agree to a cap. And a salary cap is the ultimate restriction of player value and player salary. And we believe in a market system. And Major League Baseball average salary rose from 14.8% to a record of $4.22 million last year after the end of the lockdown. And the league is hoping, by the way, for pitch timer. Now, pitch timer will consist of 15 seconds between pitches, and then with the bases are empty. 15 seconds between pitches when the bases are empty, and the 20 seconds run is for people who are on bases, men who are on bases. And that will reduce the time, dead time within Major League Baseball games. And by the way, there's no indication whether this will be used as a regular season for season games. So there you have it. Now going to the NBA, Vanessa Bryant settled her remaining claims with Los Angeles County for $28.85 million over photos that deputies shared after the 2020 helicopter crash that killed her husband and former LA Lakers star Kobe Bryant and her daughter, Gianna, and 7 others. Now on this day, March 2nd, here we are on this day, March 2nd, back in 1951, the first NBA All-Star game in the Boston Garden, the East beats the West 111-94. And back in 1962, on March 2nd, Wilt Chamberlain scores 100 points, most ever in an NBA player in a single game. In 2012, back in Major League Baseball, they confirmed the postseason will expand from 8 to 10 teams with an extra wild card team in each league. Well, there you go. Now, birthdays celebrating, I assume on this day, birthdays. Back in 1909, Major League Baseball and Hall of Famer, right fielder Mel Ott was born in Gretna, Louisiana. Back in 1937, Denny Crum, an NCAA coach and a Hall of Famer, of course, he was born in San Fernando, California. I was going to quickly say San Francisco, San Fernando, California. Back in 1965, Ron Gant, an outfielder and a broadcaster, he was born in Victoria, Texas. In 1982, Ben Roethlisberger of NFL, he was a quarterback. He was born in Lima, Ohio. In 1985, Reggie Bush, an NFLer, and he was a running back and a Heisman Trophy winner back in 2005, was born in Spring Valley, California. Now, March 3rd, which is tomorrow, on that day back in 1950, you had the National American Football League reverts to calling itself the NFL after 3 months. Back in 1959, the San Francisco Giants renamed their stadium Candlestick Park. And in 1984, Peter Ubenroth, I would pronounce that Ubenroth. Yeah, Ubenroth, I would say, yeah. Peter Ubenroth, he was elected baseball commissioner. And finally, on that day, tomorrow, March 3rd, it will be the birthday of Herschel Walker. Herschel Walker was a running back, a Hall of Famer, and also a Heisman Trophy winner. And he was born on that day, and will be his birthday tomorrow. He was born in Wrightsville, Georgia. And so that's this day in sports. That's the information we have that Brian gave us. So we thank Brian for that. And as I said, things are starting to turn around now. Of course, you already know we're finished football. Football is all over. And, you know, basketball is lingering on. We'll see what happens with that. And then the guys should be back in spring training. And I would say this is April, this is March. I'm talking about next month, April. I think in April, that's when they start going back to spring training in Florida, where the weather is nice, of course, before they start going to a regular season baseball. But at that time, weather should be a little bit better. And I just can't wait. So I'm, of course, a Yankee fan, and I'm just waiting for my boys to do the thing. They had it close last season. They were close. And the Mets were close too. They were close to getting together in the meeting in the World Series. They were so close to it. I was rooting for that. Let's see what we can do this year, coming up this season. Let's see what we can do this year. So we're looking for all of that, all of the things that are happening in Major League Baseball. Again, if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. Talk Back Live is a show that we get together each week. And of course, we always make sure that you're involved in the show. And to be involved in the show, all you have to do is use your keyboard right there. You see your keyboard is right there. And all you have to do is just type in whatever you have to say or whatever you want to say. And of course, the world is yours and we will acknowledge it. We'll say hi to you and we'll say hi to, and you can say hi to everyone else who's here. And kind of tell your friends about it. Don't kind of tell your friends about it. Tell your friends about it. Get them on board right now as we speak. The show is virtually young. We have maybe another, 36 seconds to go on the program. Time goes fast when you're having a good time on this show. But we invite you to tell all your friends about it. Get them on board and let's have some fun. Okay, again, we're celebrating Women's History Month. So if you want to chime in with that conversation on Women's History Month, of course, we'd be glad to indulge you in conversation with that. We'll get everybody aboard on that. And because that'll be a fun thing to talk about. And it's a brand new month. And, you know, We're looking forward to summer. We're waiting for those days, those, as Nat King Cole would say, those lazy, hazy, crazy days of summer. And boy, we wish that summer would always be here. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's that time. We're a little early with it because we did the sports on a brief note, but we're a little early with it. But let's get something going right now because it's that time on this day in history. I told you about it. On this day in history, let's go back to 1922. On this day in history, WBAP-AM, Fort Worth, Texas, begins broadcasting. On this day in history, in 1933, King Kong, the film directed by Marion C. Cooper and Ernest B. Shusak. And of course, it starred Fay Wray. And that premiered at the Radio City Music Hall and RKO Roxy in New York City. On this day in history, in 1934, Union Pacific tested a lightweight, high-speed passenger train in Omaha, Nebraska. On this day in history, in 1942, the 14th Academy Awards. How Green Was My Valley? And that went to Gary Cooper and Joan Fontaine. On this day in history, in 1956, Lordy, 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 Miss Claudie, that was originally done by Lloyd Price, was covered and released by Elvis Presley that year, 1956. On this day in history, in 1962, President John F. Kennedy announces U.S. will resume above-ground nuclear testing. Back in 1964, the Beatles began filming A Hard Day's Night. George Harrison, at that time, meets his future wife, Pattie Boyd. And in 1965, one of the most popular musical films of all time, The Sound of Music, starring Julie Andrews and Christopher Plummer, premieres, and it made the Academy Awards Best Picture of 1966. And back in 1967, the 9th Grammy Awards, starring with Strangers of the Night, that song by Frank Sinatra, it wins Best Record, and Michelle by the Beatles wins the Best Song that year, 1967. In 1970, Reprise Records released Ladies of the Canyon, and it was songwriter and singer Joni Mitchell. That was her third studio album. Back in 1974, the 16th Grammy Awards with Roberta Flack, she did the best record for that year. And Killing Me Softly, that was the best record of the year. And Stevie Wonder's best album that year was Inner Visions, wonderful album. In 1974, the grand jury concludes U.S. President Richard Nixon is involved in the Watergate cover-up. So let's make that perfectly clear. That was 1974. A lot of you remember that so well. I know I do. I was there. In 1976, musical review featuring song from the Harlem Renaissance, Bubbling Brown Sugar, opens at the Amphitheater in New York City, runs for 766 performances. Back in 1977, actress Bette Davis is the first woman to receive an American Film Institute Lifetime Achievement Award. In 1993, 1993, that was a very good year, right? Was it? Okay. The Rock of the Rainforest Benefit. Remember the Rock of the Rainforest Benefit? That was a concert held at Carnegie Hall in New York City, and the performances were done by Sting, James Taylor, Bryan Adams, Tom Jones, George Michael, and Herb Alpert. Back in 1994, Miami begins their first Walk of Fame. Would you believe that? Miami, their first Latin Walk of Fame. And guess who was the first star on that Walk of Fame? None other than Gloria Estefan. It makes a lot of sense, right? Miami Sound Machine. In 1995, Smokey Joe's Cafe opens at the Virginia Theater in New York City. And 2007, the 38th NAACP Image Awards goes to The Pursuit of Happiness, and that became the Outstanding Motion Picture. Actor Desi Arnaz was born on this day. Ricky Ricardo was born on this day in 1917. He was born in Santiago de Cuba, Cuba. And he died December 2nd, 1986, at the age of 69 years old from lung cancer. Actress Jennifer Jones was born on this day in 1919, and she was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. She died December 17th, 2009, at the age of 90 years old from natural causes. In 1922, jazz saxophonist Eddie Lockjaw Davis was born in Culver City, California. He died in 1986. Former Soviet General Secretary Mikhail Gorbachev was born on this day in 1931 in Russia, and he died August 30th, 1922, at the age of 91 years old. And would you believe that in 1935, Porky Pig was born? My producer had to add that. Very important. Porky Pig was born, and Porky Pig, by the way, is never going to die. He's going to live forever. And when we're all dead and gone, he's going to be here for the other generations to follow. Porky Pig. That's all, folks. 1942, Lou Reed, an American rock vocalist and songwriter and guitarist, was born in New York City. He died 2013. In 1950, Karen Carpenter from the Carpenters was born in New Haven, Connecticut, and she passed away in 1983. In 1951, actress Cassie Yates was born on that day. She was born in Macon, Georgia. She's 72 years old today. In 1952, comedian actress Lorraine Newman was one of the original cast members of Saturday Night Live. She was born in Los Angeles, California, and she's 71 years old today. In 1955, Jay Osmond of the Osmond Brothers was born in Ogden, Utah. He's 68 years old today. In 1962, John Bon Jovi was born in Sayreville, New Jersey. He's 61 years old today. In 1993, novelist Salman Rushdie divorced his wife, Marianne Wiggins. And finally, the year 2022, actor, comedian Johnny Brown, you know him from Good Times, and also he played that character Bookman. He was also on Laugh-In in the early days. He died of a heart attack at the age of 84 years old. And that's this day in history. And just in case all of you guys out there, whoever you are, wherever you are, you know anything about something that happened on this day in history that may be an interest to all of us that I didn't mention, or maybe I didn't know about, or my producer didn't know about and didn't add it in there, feel free. Feel free, we will convey it to everyone out there. Again, if you're just joining us, the name of the show is called Talk Back Live. My name is Frank Allan. And of course, again, those of you who are watching us, we're coming to you from 3 different places. We're live on Facebook, we're on YouTube and Instagram as well. And wherever you are around the world, we're all around the world. We're global, and we bring the show to you each week. And again, all of you who are watching, if you're watching us on Facebook, I couldn't say it enough, please, with the time that's allotted to us, please tag your friends, tag the show to your friends, and let them in on what's left of the action here. And you guys who are watching us on YouTube, again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. We'll give you a chance to know when we come on the air live, or if we post a video or a photo or anything to that nature. It will give you information such as a instant, I guess what you would say, an instant notification, providing you're online to see it. And then you can click onto that notification and it will bring you right here. And the rest of you who are watching us on Instagram, thank you so much for being along. Just keep following us and tell all your friends about it, okay? And that's what we do. Again, thank you so much for being along. And later on, not too far away, we are going to give you that information on the movies, the Turner Classic Movies, my picks of the week. They're all coming in. And we're so delighted to have all of you aboard. And we're going to treat you to all of that, just in case you want to know what to add to your bucket list on what to do or what to watch as far as movies are concerned. Now, I always ask people if they would like to chime in. If they would like to chime in on our show, and talk to us live. You can do that. You can talk to us live. There's no problem with that. All you have to do is just type. Use your fingers, type, and I will see you right there on the big screen. But a lot of people don't want to do it. And that's okay. That's okay. Although as much as we would love to hear from you and say hi to you personally, you rather watch the show, and that's okay too. But if you want to get in touch with me personally, there's a way to do that too. And I have two sources that you could use. I have an email address and a telephone number. Okay. Now I'm going to start with the email address. Email address is frankallanprod@aol.com. Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N. That's important. You know why? Because if you use E-N, then you'll never get through. So Frank Allan, Allan is spelled A-L-L-A-N, prod is P-R-O-D. That's short for productions. frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Or you can call us at 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. Now you can use either one of those sources. You could use both of them. You keep them in your pocket, put it in your notebook on your cell phone, in your tablets or whatever it is, so you'll have that information. And it'll be available to you at any time that you need it. And you can call us at any time you like. We're always open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can call us and leave a message. And if you need someone to get back to you, we'll make sure that happens. Email, of course, you can do that at any time as well. Now, you may have some kind of question on what this show is about. Maybe you want to add suggestions and ideas to this show. We have a lot of ears. We have 2 ears. Each one of us have 2 ears. You yell in my ear and I yell in my people's ear, right? My producers and research people. I yell in their ears and say, hey, this idea came up. Maybe we can work on that. Try us, right? And we'll see. So if you want to do that, call us or email us. All right. So let me give you that email address once again. It's frankallanprod@aol.com. That's frankallanprod@aol.com. Or you can call us at 641-715-3900, extension 467134. That's 641-715-3900, extension 467134. I know a lot of you have probably heard, and we didn't mention it too much here on the show. I mean, we lightly mentioned it last week when I had a conversation with Brian when he did the sports. We kind of mentioned it last week. Now, a lot of you may be following it, maybe not. I don't know. And I'm talking about the Don Lemon saga at CNN. You heard about that, right? Well, Don Lemon, don't worry about it. If you're a Don Lemon fan, he's back on the air. He's back on the air. He's doing the morning show, of course, with his colleagues, Poppy Harlow and Caitlin Collins. They're on the air together. They're still there. Now, the reason why I brought it up, because everybody heard about the story when he was suspended from the show. Now, let's go back in time a little bit. The reason why he was suspended from the show, because within that week that he was suspended, he made some kind of remark. Now, this had to do with it was kind of, well, they say it was a sexism remark. But it was a story that they were talking about, a story that was done by, I think her name, let me see. Let's see. Okay, let me just write this down a bit so I can get back to it later on. Let's see. I'm writing this down. I keep notes because I want to refer to them just in case I skip over everything. So I just want to get that down for you right there. Let's get that, write that down there. And obviously you can't see what I'm doing, but I'm just writing. This is clean stuff I'm doing. So don't worry about it. Okay. Let me get back to the conversation I was talking about. Okay, so Don Lemon was suspended. Now, here's what happened. They did a show on one of the shows early within that week. And I think it was sometime like last week or week before. And one of the news items had to do with Nikki Haley. Now, Nikki Haley, as you already know, is running for president of the United States. She already threw her hat in the ring. She made the announcement. And what Nikki Haley also did, she made some kind of comment. And she was referring to a person that I call 345/666 Beast Incarnate, because she's kind of like being a little more outspoken about this man than she was before, because she was drinking his orange Kool-Aid for a while. But I think she's kind of snapping out of it. I don't know. At any rate, she's running for president, and she had made some kind of remark saying that, you know something, if anyone is going to run for president, anyone's going to run for president over the age of 75 years old, and I guess she was referring to 345/666 Beast Incarnate and Joe Biden too, they should be tested for their mental health. All right, and I'm just paraphrasing. I'm not saying, they're just paraphrasing. They should be tested for their mental ability before they even run for the office. And so, usually when anchors, they have questions, or maybe they want to comment on the story. And then a comment on the story was when Don Lemon said something about, Nikki Haley is not in her primes either. So he's saying that Nikki Haley wasn't in her prime, and so she has to be very careful on how she say things, because we already know that Joe Biden is not in his prime, and we already know that 345/66 is not in his prime. But he had to just say that. He said, "Oh, well, she's not in his prime," and he said women are basically not in their primes. They're only in their prime between 30 and 40 years old. 20, he said 20, 30, and maybe 40 years old, that they're in their primes. And that kind of like raised up a flag. And you saw you should have saw the look of Poppy Hollow and Caitlin Collin, who, by the way, are their co-host. They co-host this show together. And the way they looked at it, so they thought that was kind of sexist, and they had to question them. And then he tried to bail out and say, "Well, that's not according to me. That's if you go on Google, look it up it's on Google. Look it up, and you'll see." Well, ladies and gentlemen, I took the liberty of going on Google to see if that was a fact, because he said it was factual. He did say that it was factual, and so I took the liberty of going on Google. I did not see it. I did not see it where it said that women are in their primes at 20, 30, and 40 years old. After that, all right. Now, Nikki Haley is not old herself. She's not old herself. Now, I'm not going to say what's prime and what's not prime, but Nikki Haley is in her 50s, so she's basically young. She's basically young. She's she's 55, maybe she's younger than that, I don't know, but I know she's in her 50s, so she's basically young, and we had the youngest president that I remember was John F. Kennedy. He ran at the age of 35 years old. So she's basically young. So she's in that ballpark of the age where, it's okay to run for president, but when she made that statement and Don made his statement, and then they figured that people were saying that was not a good thing to say. And then, frankly, I believe that wasn't a good thing to say. But then he tried to bail out of it, and he said, "That's not according to me. That's according to the facts." And then he gave out to Google. He said, "On Google." But again, I didn't find it on Google. But so he got suspended on, believe that Thursday when he went off the air. He didn't come back on that Friday. And that was the weekend holiday. That was the president's weekend holiday. He didn't come back that Monday, and he didn't come back that Tuesday, but he came back that Wednesday. They said they're going to let him back on, providing the catch was he comes back on, but he has to take some special what, courses or I don't know. I guess to learn etiquette. And I'm paraphrasing everything here. So in other words, he has to renew himself. He has to be born again. You know, he has to learn not to interrupt. And he does a lot of that. I admit he does a lot of interrupting. And he has to learn how to give everybody else a chance to talk when they're talking, you know, and not to be a distraction, as they put it, a distraction. And when I look at that show, I kind of feel uncomfortable myself, because even now when I watch that show, I look at it and I said, wow, you know, I'm feeling uncomfortable, because you could feel the vibe. I'm not even in that studio with them. I'm in the comforts of my own home watching this, and I feel a little. And there was talk about, and this is not gospel, this is only what I read and what I talk, and I don't believe everything I read and everything I hear, but there was talk that he wasn't really a nice person to work with. Some of his producers said that allegedly, and that you know, they didn't want to work with Caitlin Collins. At one point, they had an article saying that she tries to avoid him as much as possible, or, you know, when she's on the air with him, I noticed, and I even noticed this morning, she very rarely gives him any eye contact. And when she's talking, if the three of them are talking, she gives most of her eye contact to Poppy Harlow. It's incredible. But the short of it all is the same now. At this particular point, he's on thin ice. I don't know what that means. He's on thin ice. If, in other words, I guess I'm gathering, if he has to say anything like that again, then, you know, he's gone. You know, the other story is, I understand that he's not really happy there for whatever reason. I don't know, you know, and maybe that's why this whole thing is going on. But understand something, ladies and gentlemen, when he went on the air one time, remember when he had his own primetime show at night, right? And he went on the air and he made the announcement that, you know, he's leaving the primetime show and he's going on to mornings. And so I'm thinking, I said, well, why would he do that? If he's going on mornings, and then he mentioned the fact that he's going on with two other people. So my question is, why would a person leave their own show, their own primetime show with their brand on it? It's branded, and leave that show and go on to another shift where he has to work for an ensemble of other people. Granted, he has top billing on it, but it's still not his show. You know, so I'm thinking all of this, and he's saying, well, he got together with his producers and management and he consented to it. But why would you consent to it? Maybe he's just saying that he's consenting to it. But why? Why would you do that? I'm thinking maybe management is telling him, we're making a move here and you're going to be involved in it. We're taking you off your primetime show and you're putting on morning. That's not up for negotiation. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm also thinking he's being set up for the kill. That's only my opinion. Only my opinion. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I've seen this before. I've read this before. I've lived this before in this industry. I've seen it all. And I look at that and it just flashes back. You know, why would he leave a show like that? We're going to have to find out what happens. But in the meantime, he's back on the air. He's doing well. And who knows? If he's unhappy, then maybe he should make a move and go someplace else. Get in touch with the agent. Find someplace else to go. He can find himself another place to go because he's talented. So is Poppy Harlow and Caitlin. They're all good at what they do. But I always thought that morning shift, that switching to the morning shift, I thought that was a bad idea. That's only my opinion. Because prior to them doing the morning shift, there were two other people there, and I liked them. I liked them very much there, but they took Poppy Harlow from her mid-morning show and put him on the morning show, and took Caitlin Collins, who originally was the chief correspondent of the White House, and put her on there. So they brought her out of Washington, brought her to New York, and every once in a while she goes back and forth from New York to Washington and does something, because that's where she's based, I believe. That's probably where she lives, but now she's here. I don't know what kind of arrangement they have setting her up, but she's here. So we're going to have to see what happens. We're going to have to see what happens. And you know something, some people are getting a kick out of this. I'm not personally getting a kick out of this because I don't want to see anyone lose their job. But Megyn Kelly, remember from Fox? She's no longer with Fox. Megyn Kelly chimed in on her podcast saying that, oh, they should fire Don Lemon. They should fire him, you know? And it's just that she had to horn in on that. Why? Well, she should be thinking about herself. Think about that show that you're doing. You're no longer on TV. You have a podcast. Concentrate on that and stay out of people's business. And I'll give you an example. Last Sunday, this past Sunday, actress Sally Field received an award from SAG. That's the Screen Actors Guild, a Lifetime Achievement Award from SAG. Now, Megyn Kelly said in that speech that Sally Field was apologizing for being white. Now, I'm going to play you a clip. I'm not going to play the whole entire clip because the whole entire clip lasts for about 6 minutes and I think 28 seconds. But I'm only going to play a short version of this clip so you could see what's happening. I want you to listen to it, and we'll get back to it.
I was a little white girl with a pug nose, born in Pasadena, California. And when I look around this room tonight, I know my fight, as hard as it was lightweight compared to some of yours. I thank you and I applaud you. And I know that for you, just like for me, it has not been easy. I've worked my whole life. I've ridden the highs and tried to learn from the lows. And in all of these almost 60 years, there is not a day that I don't feel quietly thrilled to call myself an actor. Thank you for this great honor from you, the people I most wanted respect from in my life. Actors, thank you.
I didn't hear anything of her saying that I want to apologize for being white. Why would she say that? Why would anyone say that I am going to apologize for being white? I'm going to apologize for being black. What she was saying, if you listen to that very closely, what she was saying is that when she came up in her years as a child actor, up into her teen years when she was Gidget, the Flying Nun, and so forth and so on, and then elevated to the movies, what she was saying, if you listen very closely, that what about her upbringing, it was very hard for her. But she says, and as I look around, I don't see where I came from. It was probably lightweight compared to what you guys are going through now. What she was saying is that the industry changes so much, and as much as she was struggling in her career, it's even more hardship in this industry now. So that's what she was saying. She's saying now it's even worse. It's hard. So, and well, she's a little pug-nosed white girl from Pasadena, California. That's all she said. But Megyn, she wants to make a big thing out of it. And also, you know what else she said? Megan said that she was in the audience talking to a amount of Black people. Now, I'm going to invite each and every one of you to go and check out that video. Check out that video. It's called Sally Field, the award acceptance speech, the 29th annual SAG Awards. It's 6 minutes and 28 seconds long. You can see the whole thing from the time that she went on stage, and you didn't hear one time that she had apologized, you know? So it wasn't anything like that. And then when you get a chance to watch that, go on YouTube and check out Megyn Kelly's thing. Just go into Megyn Kelly, just type in Sally Field, Megyn Kelly, and I'm sure it'll lead you right there. And she was saying all of these lies, that there were a bunch of Black people that she was talking to. If you look at the audience right in front, there were mostly Caucasian people there, mostly Caucasian actors. Sure, there were Black people there, but she was talking to them as a group, as an acting group, not as a race of people. You know, I am so over Megyn Kelly. I am so finished with her. You know, maybe it's because she's jealous, because she's not on TV anymore and she's reduced to a podcast, and she wants Don Lemon fired, and she's saying this about Sally Fields, who's an iconic actress. You know, Megan, are you jealous of Don Lemon because he still has his TV show and you don't? Are you jealous of Sally Fields because she's making maybe 3 or 4 times more money than you're making, that you've ever seen in your life, and maybe Don Lemon too? You know, get on your own, get off of that and go do your podcast and try to elevate to get back on TV. This way you don't have to be jealous anymore. Because when you mess with Don Lemon, you mess with me. When you mess with Sally Field, who, by the way, was my teenage crush back in the old days growing up as a kid. When you mess with Sally Fields, you mess with me. And if Sally Fields is watching this, Sally Fields, don't worry about the likes of Megyn Kelly, you know, because she doesn't even coincide. She doesn't say anything. She's not saying anything relevant. She wants to get back into relevancy, you know, and she doesn't condescend to even shine your shoes. Don Lemon, don't worry about the likes of Megyn Kelly. Keep doing your show. And Megyn Kelly, you know, if you have anything to say about that, I invite you on my show. I invite you on my show to talk about it. But you won't come. You won't come. Megyn Kelly, shut up. That's what you told Sally Fields, right? Shut up. So now I'm telling you, shut up. Do your podcast and leave the rest of the world alone. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm serious about that. I want you on the show. I hope this gets back to you. Come on the show, talk about it. I dare you. I double dare you. I triple dare you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now that being said, it's time for me to get to these movies. And let's get to that right away before time runs out. We've got a lot of movies to talk about. Let's go back to, let's say 1945. You can see this on Turner Classic Movie. 1945, Mildred Pierce with Joan Crawford, and that's on Turner Classic Movies. You can catch that. That's Friday at 10 p.m. Eastern. Then you have Born Yesterday, which I don't consider it a comedy, but it has a few comedy overtones in it. Back in 1950, starring Judy Holliday, William Holden, and Broderick Crawford. Back in 1950, Born Yesterday. Some Like It Hot, 1959, with Tony Curtis, Jack Lemmon, and Marilyn Monroe on Turner Classic Movies. That's also on Saturdays at 5:45 p.m. Eastern. And here's another one that goes back to 1963. It has a long list of cast members, an all-star cast. It's a mad, 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 mad world. If you like long movies with a long title, this is a movie for you. It's 10:15 p.m. Eastern. That's Saturday as well. Another long movie from 1939, Gone with the Wind, with Clark Gable and Vivian Leigh. That's on Turner Classic Movie as well. That's Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And finally, Casablanca with Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. And that's back in 1942. And you can see that that's on Turner Classic Movies. That's on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I hope you get a chance to watch these shows. If you don't watch them in real time, of course, you're always welcome to DVR them and watch them at a later date. And I hope you do like them. And that's going to wrap up things for today, ladies and gentlemen. I will be back here tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. for the coffee hour. Hopefully, Brian Camp will be with me for sports, and DJ Pete will be with me. That's 2020 feature, 20 after the hour, Brian with sports, and 22 the hour, DJ Pete with entertainment news, reciting all of those birthdays of people of notoriety. And that's all happening tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, right here. Other than that, I'll be back here next week at 8 p.m. Eastern for more of Talk Back Live. Brian Camp will be along with me with sports, and you and I, all of us together. So until then, ladies and gentlemen, have yourself a great day, a great afternoon, a great evening, and a wonderful night, and I will catch you soon. God bless you.
You've been watching Talk Back Live with your host Frank Allen. The producer is Al Dale. Technical assistant Dave Taylor. Research by Sandy Pierce. And I'm your announcer Donna Stenke. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Talk Back Live.